Shloshan, right? Charged or whatever it is. Ve'eluhen, these are the ones that went in. Adam, Chava, ve'Nachash nichnasu. Adam and Eve and the snake went in to get judged. Ladin v'nit kalela haaretz imahen. And who was the fourth one that came out? The land, earth. The earth came because of you. Is one of the things that was said there. Ve'lama nit kalela. Why did the earth? What was the earth's fault? What did it do? What did it have to do with it? Commanded the earth. What was that commandment? Shekach amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Tadsheh haaretz etz pri oseh pri. That the earth should sprout forth fruit trees that bear fruit. Like, imagine going to take I was once riding a horse somewhere in Texas or Colorado, I don't remember where I was, and the horse was hungry. It started chewing the bark of a tree. It just started eating. Imagine take a bite out of a tree, right? Vehi lo asta ken, and the earth didn't do so. Ela totzeh ha'am v'totzeh haaretz etz ve'etz oseh pri. It made a tree that bears fruit, as opposed to a fruit tree that bears fruit. That's what it did. V'apri ne'echal ve'etz eino ne'echal. The fruit is edible and the tree is not edible. And therefore, it's like that the earth sinned. So this is midrash that's very, very difficult to understand, right? Because the earth obviously doesn't have free will, right? Free will wasn't given to the land. So that's why it's midrash. We on a pshat level, it's very hard to understand. Rav Kook is going to make a little sense of it today. Upirish Rashi says over there, yesh lishon sheyeh ta'ama etz katama pri. That not necessarily that you can actually eat the tree, but that the taste, the flavor of the tree, would be like the taste of the fruit. So if you would eat the bark of this tree, you would, if you would taste it, so you would have the taste of the whatever.
There's only one. No, actually, there's two.
That works.
Trees that you eat. Yes, a cinnamon tree.
Sugar cane.
And I think sassafras also is from the bark. And there's something else is on.
Right. Okay. So anyway, that's the midrash that this piece is based on. Now let's understand, what does that mean? Like, what are Chazal trying to teach us? Like, we missed that. We could have been eating tree bark. What what? Right.
Well, Hyman used to chew on trees.
Did he?
Yeah, you take all the tree branches and you use it as like a toothbrush or chew on it.
Is that what it says in over there in the?
That's a tradition.
All right. Well, so let's see where the Chazal are trying to teach us something deeper. Rav Kook is going to. It was befitting. It was appropriate. It was the way it was supposed to be. Is that the taste of the tree was supposed to be like the taste of the fruit. Kol ha'emtza'im. What does that mean? Kol ha'emtza'im ha'machzikim be'ezeh megama ruchanit gavoa klalit. That any means which were leading to some type of spiritual and exalted goal. It was befitting, and it was supposed to. You guys announced the page. Everybody found it?
Yeah.
It should have been that the means that a person would feel and taste in the means. That the goal itself, that we feel in the goal as we imagine it. What does that mean?
The goal English or the goal Hebrew?
The goal. The goal in English. The ideal, the purpose, the meaning like this. Everybody imagines the tree. What is the tree? The tree brings forth the fruit. How long does it take for a tree to bring fruit? There's such a huge process until a fruit comes from a tree. You have to sprout the seed. You have to, right, etc., etc. Does it give forth the fruits? Right? The tree is the in what it would like to be in great shape. Right? Some people are in great shape, but most of us just imagine what it would be like to be in great shape, right? Where your body feels good and you've got a lot of strength and you wake up with a lot of energy and all that, right?
I remember I had that one.
A long time ago, before. So, but how many of us like to do the process, like to go through the process and put forth the effort to get that goal, right? There's the fruits of our labor, right? But so the is that just the vision that's what Rav Kook calls the when we mitzayer it, when we paint it in our minds, when we imagine it. But then you think about that first day at the gym, or that first day running, or not ice cream, or not, right? Stopping the challenge that we have in getting ourselves on board with all the effort that's going to take to go through the process. We'll become addicted. Everybody with just their own imagination, which through our deepest ratzon. Not so we have illness in our relations, right? A relationship, where you finish each other's sentences, and you in the middle of the night when you're right. Which one of those sounds more pleasant to you? Right? The means we don't taste the pleasantness in the means. That's what Rav Kook is saying. So he's saying that it was supposed to be that any effort that you make, any emtsai, any kli, any vehicle that brings you closer to some type of spiritual goal, right? Right now, I'm working on my anger, let's say, right? I got a lot of anger. I come from an angry family, and I know that in Judaism we don't look positively on that, right? A person who expresses anger and right in that ways. So I'm working on my anger, right? So I'm really excited about it, but like right now, right? Okay, now I'm going to buckle down and try to figure out what is that to get angry, to make the cheshbon nefesh, to do it, to take a good scrutinizing look at myself, right? I don't feel the pleasure in that. It should be that very act, that I'm excited about that. I feel the same pleasantness in that as I do in imagining myself being a perfectly at peace human being, right? Never being angry, right? Meaning every step of the process is supposed to be filled with flavor, filled with goodness, filled with pleasantness, right? But that's not what happened. Now Rav Kook explains what is it about our lives now that cause us not to feel the pleasantness in the process. Aval teva haaretz, the nature of the earth, physicality, the physical world that we live in, which is right. He goes another word. The word olam comes from the word helem, hiddenness. It covers up spirituality, right? Spirituality is something we have to fight for. When you say Shema Yisrael, you don't say Shema Yisrael. You close your eyes to the world and you say Shema Yisrael, because it's not so apparent that there's just Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. It's not so apparent. We struggle against physicality in a certain sense to be able to tap into spirituality, because spirituality is so hidden in this world, and that the reason why that's so comes from this story of the earth not following through, so to speak, on a spiritual level. It doesn't just mean the trees, of course, and the fruits, right? It means that it was supposed to be revealed, just like Adam Arishon and Chava, that they didn't have any clothes on before. They didn't have anything covering them up, right? Only afterwards, when there was a spiritual cover up, that they also have to cover up, right? Everything was vulnerable, everything was open, everything was very pure in that. But that became the nature of the land. That's one of the things that causes us to not feel the goodness and the pleasantness in the process. Hitnodeduta chaim, the fluctuations in the instability of life, right? Everybody here was not born in Yerushalayim, right?
No.
Right? Moving in countries. I don't know, each one of you in your own family history, if you think about your own family history, how many countries in the last generations moved from one place to another, right? Or from cities, or right, or from financial difficulty, or in a state of war, right? All the different, those are just major things, right? Not to mention the more minor things in a person's own personal atmosphere, but all the different התנודדות החיים ולאות הרוחניות כשהיא נסגרת במסגר הגופניות. And this is an interesting, Rav Kook says, the exhaustion, spiritual exhaustion, when it's limited by physicality, right? Meaning, if a person has a real inclination towards spirituality, there's a certain there's a certain natural reflex that one has, that he wants to poresh. He wants to poresh. They don't get married. They don't, right? They're not involved in this world. That's a very natural inclination, right? When a person wants to be spiritual, this world, in a certain sense, it negates spirituality. It definitely does. It definitely doesn't encourage it, right? It encourages physicality, right? So therefore, if a person's when a person's trying to be spiritual within the physical world, it's exhausting.
Well, that's why is it exhausting? It's because we're so if you're someone who wants to be spiritual in the physical world, you're like doing the work of bringing the world closer. So of course it's going to be exhausting. You're moving the whole world with you.
Exactly. You're doing the work. You're doing the work, and your muscles are tired. Your spiritual muscles are tired, right? On an emotional level, right? If a person has emotions that he doesn't like, anger, shame, sadness, right? So a lot of times what people will do is they'll shut themselves down emotionally, right? So, but it doesn't work like that. You can't. If you shut down one emotion, you shut down all emotions, right? If one emotion is if one emotion is open, so they're all open, right? It's like it used to be in the old. If you look at like a panel in the recording studios, I always use this. There's the master volume. There's the volume for each particular root, and then there's the master volume, right? You don't have a choice which emotion you allow to be fully free and open and expressive, and which one closed. If you close one, it's only on the master volume level, right? So it's the same thing on a. It would be so easy to, if I could just have simcha and love and, right, emotions that I embrace and that I identify that I want, right? If I could just have those, and the other ones, the negative emotions, I have them totally closed off. So too, it would be great if I could be spiritual and, not have temptations of other. If I could be spiritual within the physical world, right, in the ways that it's mutar, that it's ways it's permitted according to the Torah, but not have temptations of the other physical things in this world. But it doesn't work that way. If you're in the physical world, you're also at risk of the lusts and the urges of this physical world, right? So if a person, for instance, if a person doesn't want to have inappropriate relationships, right? So it's much easier on a certain level to just cut that part of himself off. Like, I'm not a sexual person anymore, right? He cuts that part out of his life. I'm going to go be a monk, right? Makes things easy, right? But you're not really doing anything with that, right? You're not really doing the work. But if I'm doing the work, so that means I'm also susceptible to the challenges that the physical world brings me, and therefore it can be exhausting, right? So all those things together, garam sherak ta'amo shel hapri shel hamegama ha'achrona ha'idiyal harashi mugashu benoamo uv'hadaro. Now all that causes that the taste is that it's just the taste of the fruit, i.e. the goal, the end goal, the ideal that I'm working towards. Only that is felt in its pleasantness and its glory, right? The actual work itself is not easy, right? Not easy. Depending on where the person's free choices. They bring out if you're on a work convention, and they bring out all this beautiful food, right? And you're hungry because you've been traveling and you haven't eaten anything all day, and then they say, "Oh, but don't worry, Moshe, we also got you kosher food. We ordered before from the rabbi, and they bring out a little, a little closed tray with two seals, and they forgot to heat it up, so it's frozen fish, that probably even if it wasn't frozen, it might not be so, right? And everybody else is gorging themselves, and then they bring out the Viennese table, and here he is, this guy, right? Peas from a can."
Myself and my ex-wife had 2 kosher meals. That's it.
That's right. So there you go. Right. It's not so easy, right? It's not so easy at that moment to be holding on, right? You feel the pain. You don't feel the pleasure. I'm so happy I get to be a kosher eating Jew, right? I know I'm so happy in general, and that's why I'm not going and I'm not gorging like these other guys, right? But I don't feel that pleasantness at this moment. I feel the sacrifice, and I'm committed to the sacrifice, but I don't feel the fruit, right? אבל העצים הנושאים עליהם את הפרי, עם כל נחוצותם, But those trees, those moments of challenge, which they carry the fruits. That's what brings you to where you're trying to reach. With all the necessity that you have of the tree, and without the tree, you wouldn't have a fruit. So we need them, and we understand we need them, and that's how we become committed to them. Is once we understand, without this, I can't get to that. Right? This is the. But what it means is it became coarse. Right? V'nidgashmu, they became more physical. V'ibdu etamam, and they lost their flavor. They lost their taste. Why isn't everybody running to go? They're running because the fruits, they don't taste the fruits in that. Right? It's much easier to do everything else where there's fruits and physical fruits. There's lots of physical fruits in this world. Spiritual fruits. Meaning that became the reality of this world. That physicality covers up the spirituality in that sense. That listen to what he says. He actually he changed around according to the Midrash. We said that also man became cursed through the sin of the land in that sense, right? Which that we can't understand. There's lots of different svar that talk about like exactly why is the land doesn't have free will. Not for now, but meaning man suffers because of this. We suffer because of that. The whole activity, he says, everything that's a blemish is going to get its tikkun, right? That's the because we believe everything's going to be. But therefore, we're promised and we're sure about the process of clarification. That there's going to come days that the world is going to go back to its original nature in this sense. And the flavor of the work is going to be like the right, like the flavor of the fruit. Can you imagine? Just to try to imagine, right? You work for a month, and then you get your paycheck. Has anybody ever experienced getting a great paycheck?
That's most good feeling.
It's a great feeling, right? Just to see those numbers in the account, right? It's a great feeling. Imagine you didn't sleep so well at night, and you wake up and you get to work, and you feel that same level of pleasure from the paycheck, from like that your boss says, "Okay, let's get to work. You got a 12-hour day ahead of you." Right? The same level of pleasure. It's so beyond our ability to comprehend it, right? But that's what it's going to go back to. Serving Hashem is not going to be like shlepsach and nebuch. We're working so hard, but Ramosha Feinstein said that there was one of the things that caused so many Jews in America to leave the path of Judaism is because they heard their parents moaning and groaning about this. It's schwer to be a Yid. It's hard to be a Yid. You have to sacrifice a lot. You have to work a lot. I work the same amount of hours as this guy, but I also have to daven shachris and mincha and mariv, right? And on Shabbos, I don't get to go to the movies like him and his kids, whatever, right? And
food's more expensive.
Food's more expensive, and everything is a tremendous effort, right? But it's not like that. It's going to be like. The truth is, Baal Shem Tov says that this is a very deep teaching which is connected to this piece. Baal Shem Tov said, I've heard in the name of Baal Shem Tov, I've never seen it inside. He said, there's no difference between our world now and Gan Eden, meaning before the sin. The only difference is our eyes. Mm-hmm. We don't see it, right? And it makes sense according to what we said also because the world is it's a world of cover-up. It covers up spirituality. It doesn't mean that spirituality is not real. Some people get confused and they say, well, it must be that it's just the physical world. Like most of the world believes that right now, right? But it's just untrue. It's just untrue, right? We just don't see it. Our eyes can't see it. Our hearts are not sensitized to it to feel spirituality. But when that time comes, and this clarification is made, so it's the same pleasure that you get in the fruit, in that right? You're going to get in the tree, in the work. Ki tashuva aretz micheta, because the earth is going to return. It's going to do tshuva, so to speak, from its sin. ואורחות החיים המעשיים לא יהיו גורמים לחוץ בעד הנועם של האור האידיאלי. and the ways of life, physical life, actual practical life, are not going to block us being able to sense the pleasantness and the light of the ideal that we're working towards. Meaning, even if you're not there yet, it's not going to be all a whole day of paycheck. It's going to be that the work itself feels the same pleasure. You feel the same time. Hanitmach b'darko ayadei emtza'im agunim. That the light of that ideal, which is supported in its way by all the means that proper means that bring us to those spiritual goals. All the means themselves, when you're actually not at the fruit yet, you're still in the means of the fruit, but you're going to feel the pleasantness and the goodness of it. What the Baal Shem Tov is teaching is if we work on our eyes, i.e. our spiritual eyes, our perspective, so we can also right now, even in the world right now, have experienced that same pleasure. It's against the nature of the world, but who says that we're bound by the nature of the world? Right? Jews are not bound by nature. Right? It says, Chazal said that the Jews are me'al mazal. We're above the mazal. It doesn't mean just the zodiac. It means the concept of the natural system of things. We're above that if we choose to put ourselves above that. In Slonim, they have this beautiful sentence that I forget. I think maybe the Lechovich Rabbi said. The Mordechai Lechovich said, he said, "Eze olam yafeh." What a beautiful world. Lemi shelo meshukah bo. That for a person who's not totally enveloped in it. Right? If I'm trying to just, make they say a V, to make a check, I put on tefillin, I did this, but really I just want to live a physical life. So that's one thing. But if I'm really trying to live a spiritual life, but not running away from the physical world, but I'm doing it right, so to speak. I'm doing it according to the ways that we have passed down, Shulchan Aruch and the Sefer, etc. Right? I'm not really into this physical world for the physical world's sake. Right? Then what a beautiful life you can live. And you actually taste your spirituality at the moment that you're living in this still unrefined reality of how the world is today. Right? That's one of the things to go to by Chassidim, to go by tzaddikim. It's a little bit more rare in this generation. That because a lot of times rabbis and tzaddikim in this generation, for whatever reason, they don't show so much. They don't show so much outside. But one of the reasons why people used to go to tzaddikim is because still today, but just less, is to see this Hayyid he's literally just like he's drunk. He's in love with Hashem. He's just There's a Rebbe that I go to sometimes in Beit Shemesh, the Tribhushana Rebbe, and I don't like to go to Tish so much. Whatever. Don't tell on me to the Rebbe, but I don't like to go to Tishes. But this Rebbe's Tish is it's Gan Eden. The Rebbe's first of all he was maybe a little bit drunk. He's drinking beer, but he's not. It's not Purim. But his face is red. He's smiling. He's singing the Divrei Torah. There's so much heart. There's so much soul. There's so much love that's going on there. Every time I leave the Tish, he says beautiful Divrei Torah, and he told me he never prepares the Divrei Torah. Just he waits. That's the derech and that he can receive from his ancestors is you have to, the inspiration of that moment has to lead you to say the Divrei Torah that's right for that moment. He says beautiful Divrei Torah. Divrei Torah, you wouldn't believe that he didn't think about this for hours and hours before. I never remember the Divrei Torah afterwards so much. Sometimes I do for a couple of days, but what I remember is this thought. This is a Yid who's in love with Hashem. To a shul, and Rabbi Shlomo Kalbach says sometimes you go to a shul and it feels like you walked into a refrigerator, But sometimes you go Kabbalat Shabbat. Here's your moment, break free from the shackles of the week and from the exhaustion of it, right? Let yourself free. And people are yawning and falling asleep. I'm also guilty. I'm not. It's not. But where's our love? Where's our right? So the Baal Shem Tov says you can. There is such a metzius that you can work on your eyes and your heart and your sensitivity, that you're literally tasting the fruit in the tree right now, even during this time in history where that's not the reality. Right? Let's go back into Rav Kook. HaTeshuva atzma hamazemet et haruach hapnimi. And tshuva Tshuva is one of our. This is like kind of what the Baal Shem Tov is teaching. Tshuva itself, what does tshuva do? It's mazremet et haruach hapnimi. It restores a flow of an inner spirit into a person, right? I love that word mazrim. Mazrim is to like a zerem is the flow of a river, let's say, right? Mazrim is to cause something to flow. Right, so it causes a flow of an inner spirit. That's what tshuva does. Which that inner spirit has become sunken into the depths, into the pit of a lack, or the opposite of the ideal. Meaning he's always feeling it, that his inner spirit is just feeling the hard work. He's like that yid in New York City, 80 years ago, coming home and say, "Oh, it's hard to be a yid." And his kid here as well. It's hard to be a yid. I might as well not, right? So that when the spirit is in the pit, when it's sunk down, right? Al yedei netinat revach. So what does tshuva do? Tshuva comes and it restores that spirit, right? I just saw Netanya yesterday that he brings from the pasuk in the Navi that says tzaddik Chavakuk. A Navi says tzaddik be'emunato yichyeh. A tzaddik lives with his emunah. But he says, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that that's the principle in his life, that he believes in a God. It means that it gives him life, it gives him vitality, it revitalizes him, it wakes him up, it gives him juice, right? So that's what it does. And how does tshuva do that? Al yedei netinat revach laruach hatzedek shenitam betchila b'muakah, that it makes a little bit of a space that the spirit of goodness and of justice can that was in distress before. I.e., when before he did tshuva, right? His spirit was locked down. Now he makes a little space that the spirit of Cook said something beautiful. He's saying, how do you get to a place where you can actually taste the taste of the fruit in the tree? It's through tshuva. Tshuva is the vehicle for that, right? Because tshuva is a person who lost his way entirely. Why should I keep Shabbos? Why should I keep kosher? Why should I believe in God? Why should I be a nice person? This world you only have 70 years anyway. I'm gonna get I'm gonna do what I could do to make sure that I take care of myself. Right? He lost his way entirely. Tshuva doesn't right? It doesn't just flow it back into so you can clarify your ideals again. It clarifies that also the ways of getting there are gewaldig. And in all of them will be felt the glow of the goal itself. And this is an interesting way how Rav Kook finishes it. He says, and no longer will the man carry upon himself the shame of laziness in his true life now. Why is the shame of laziness? Because what is laziness in essence? It's that I don't taste the fruit, right? Why is it so hard to get off the couch and go exercise, right? Why is it so hard to do the work, to be the best husband, the best father? Why is it so hard to learn Torah to the extent that you're like Yom V'Layla, day and night, right? We don't taste the fruit. We don't taste the fruit. It's a very simple equation, right? It's a very simple equation. In this world, we do what tastes good, right? There's a reason why children love candy. We also love candy, but just at a certain point, it makes you sick if you eat so much of that stuff, right? And then we don't like to be sick, and so let's make a cheshbon here, right? But we're all the same. If you see that a person is not doing what he knows he should be doing, even in his own belief system, there's one reason: it's just not sweet to him. Right? If it would be sweet to him, he'd be doing it. Right? So tshuva, in all of its forms, really is what restores a sense of sweetness, also in the means itself, in the process itself. Right? So very, very beautiful. Should we go weiter? You guys, you have a couple more minutes. Let's open up the next parak. Forever has energy. Parak Zion. And this parak is an amazing parak. This parak is in my opinion, one of the biggest chidushim in this sefer. And Perek Zayin is called Erkam Shel Hirhurei Tshuva, Tziura U'Machshavta. The value of thoughts of tshuva, its vision, its form, and the thought of it. A hirhur is a machshev, right? Right. So why? Because right.
Well, Hoshev means something else, right?
Say again.
Meanings for Hashev, like Hashev is to think about, meditate, but it means something else.
To compute, to calculate, intentional. It's intentional. Is the that's the. I don't know if you'd find that in the the dictionary, but the concept between machshava is that it's intentional thought, it's a focused thought, it's an active thought. A hirhur is a passing thought. It's a thought that just kind of it comes, and like it comes, and as quickly as it comes, it could go. It may be like a fleeting thought, right? I didn't intend. It wasn't. There was nothing intentional about it, right? So Chazal say, the sages say that everybody has hirhurei tshuva, fleeting thoughts of tshuva, right? Then it says, and you guys remember that we learned that which is really what this whole chapter is based upon, is this teaching for the Baal Shem. He doesn't quote the Baal Shem Tov. It's not the derech of Rav Kook to quote almost anybody except for God in the Tanakh, right? And sometimes Chazal, and every now and again Rishonim, but beyond that, no. But Chazal say that the voice comes out. Hashem calls out to us with a bad call every day from Mount Sinai, right? Come back to me. Is the essential message, and the Baal Shem Tov says that the way that we experience that is through hirhurei tshuva. Hashem sends this flow of fleeting thoughts. They're very subtle. If you don't pay attention, you might miss them. Of thoughts of wanting to be good, that human nature, so to speak, of wanting to be better, of wanting to progress, of wanting to be a good person. It's not necessarily his nature in the sense of like it's built into his DNA. It's his nature in the sense that Hashem is always calling to us, calling back to him. And so if we don't stop and listen to it and think about it, so it remains just a hirhur. And a concept of the hirhur tshuva, just one more introduction before we start the piece, is that the concept of the hirhur tshuva is like, I stole money from somebody, chas v'shalom, so like, maybe I should give it back. Nah. Right? The nah is not, that's the decision. But that thought, it's so subtle. Maybe I should say I'm sorry, right? Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have, right? Maybe I shouldn't look here. That's a hirhur tshuva. Once it comes, now you become a baal bechira. You have free choice. You get to decide. You have to tighten up your game, how you respond to them, etc. But that first moment, even if you never do anything with them, and you guys have heard me say before that it says in the Gemara that Rishaim Maleim Charata. It says that Rishaim are filled with Charatot, are filled with regrets. Right? What does that mean? They've got a guilty conscience? It means that they're also getting a flow of hirhurei tshuva, but they never listen to it. That's why they're Rishaim, because they're not listening to it. They never listen to it. Right? But they have it, and they're filled with all kinds of regrets. Right, and charatot and lashon rabim in plural because they have lots of regrets because they've done lots of things, right? Because they're not listening. Okay, so now let's see what Rav Kook says in Aleph. Tiva shel tshuvahi. The nature of tshuva is shehi notenet la'adam menucha v'koved rosh ke'echad. That it gives a person rest. It's relaxing. It's calming, and at the same time, koved rosh. Koved rosh is like seriousness. It literally means the heaviness of the head, right? Kalut rosh, the opposite of that, is like taking things really lightheartedly, right? And kalut rosh is a midah that can be very problematic. Sometimes it's important, right? But a lot of times, scoffing at things, not necessarily scoffing at things, but just not taking things seriously, and everything is light, everything is right. Koved rosh, like it says that when you go to daven, you should daven with koved rosh, concentration, focus, forcing yourself to be present with the holiness and the weightiness of what's happening at this moment, right? Sometimes you see in a chuppah, you see a chassan who's like joking around and schmoozing, and the moment of a chuppah is a moment of tremendous holiness, tremendous holiness. The person, it's his own personal Yom Kippur. The chuppah is like a gate to the highest places in heaven. It's a very, very holy moment. So I always go up there and I tell the chassan, David, don't waste these moments in schmoozing and joking about, Ma'abakach. That's a moment of holiness. What does that mean? Bring a little bit of koved rosh, a little bit of focus, a little bit of, not heaviness in a negative sense, but heaviness in a focused sense, right? So tshuva brings on one hand calm, and on the other hand, it brings this koved rosh. It brings them together. They come together, which is this is the only place where I believe, I don't know, maybe you guys can think of something else that brings these together. I mean, a lot of times if it's koved rosh, if your boss says, look, you've got 2 hours to finish the project, you're going to have koved rosh. You're going to drink 3 cups of coffee and do whatever you have to do to get it done, right? But it's not pleasant. It's not calming, right? It's calm once you finish 2 minutes before and you put it on their boss's desk. Then it feels good, right? But until then, there was nothing. It was the opposite of calm. And on the other hand, when something brings menucha, when you think about rest, relaxation, calm, maybe there's another word for menucha, I don't know. So
being comfortable.
So that's the opposite of koved rosh. It's the opposite of, right? Like when I give him the project, that's when I get the menucha. But to get them both together, they seem to be directly opposed, right, to each other.
It happens sometimes in like extreme like life or death situations, where your body actually goes to this automatically. Like your head you get super clear thinking.
Right.
It's like a very stressful event. So death is involved, and then like you're like super calm, but you don't know why this is. Like you have access to this, but
right.
like Hashem only grants it to you. Yeah. Well, not only grants it to you, but Hashem grants to everybody in these sorts of circumstances.
Right.
It's a form of adrenaline.
Right. So that it's true. The person has like a calm demeanor in the sense that he's tremendous focus. But if you'd ask him, "Hey, are you relaxed right now? You feeling good right now?" He said, "No, because these guys chasing me with a knife. I just have to defending myself." Meaning, by definition, it's a life or death situation, right? Mm-hmm. It's just at that moment he has a calm demeanor, maybe, or a certain type of level.
So speaking from personal experience of like the feeling I had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I've had the opposite as well, but
right.
I was just saying.
Right, but meaning in the sense of, would you like to go back to that situation?
Yeah, it was really strange. I think so. I think
really?
that was actually pretty. It was a very like.
Not necessarily.
Like if you have like a very dull life, like oh wow, like that's actually exciting and. Like,
the eye of the storm. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I hear it. Well, but in the sense that Rav Kook is saying, menucha, of calm, of like relaxation, like because you remember from previous chapters, Rav Kook had talked about when a person has sin that he hasn't cleaned up. He has things like, for instance, he has relationships that he hasn't cleaned up, or he has actions that he's done that he hasn't cleaned up and then tshuva on them. They're sitting on him. They're weighing him down. It's kind of like gangrene. It's an illness inside of his soul, and even if he's not paying attention to it, or even if he's not sensitive to it, or he's never even known about it, he feels it, right? Tshuva is like it's a way out. It's a way out. There's a way to get clean. There's a way to get pure again, right? And so that itself brings a calm. It brings a. It's not about just like, okay, now I'm free, right? Okay. He menachemet oto gam b'hirhut tshuva, and even just with the hirhut tshuva, of course, says with that first initial thought, it already comforts him. It consoles him. There's a way out, right? There's a way out. There's a way to feel good. There's a way to be pure again, to be close to God. From one point of its light, one little dot of its light, its great light, already placed inside of that is tremendous joy, exalted joy for an entire world, meaning spiritual world. And at the same time, it presents before the eyes of our soul, meaning in our inner eyes, it presents Talmid chovot hashlama, all the different things that we still have to do. Right? Yom Kippur, Chazal said that Yom Kippur, the happiest day of the year is Yom Kippur. I once saw in a book, Judaism for Dummies. They got everything for dummies, right? So Judaism for dummies, and it said that Yom Kippur is the most sad, solemn day of the Jewish year. It's the exact opposite of what I learned. It's the happiest day of the year. There's nothing sad or solemn about the day. There's a seriousness about the day.
Solemn day, and not sad.
Yeah. Gewalt. Beautiful. That's what they say. There's never such a great Yom Tov for Yisrael as Yom Kippur, right? But why is it heavy? Is because at the same time that I feel this amazing ticket out of my own brokenness, right? At the same time, I see all the different things that I have to do. Right? I'm clear about what I have to do. The reason why a lot of times we run away from tshuva and we don't want to do tshuva is because we don't want to have we don't want to look at this long list of things that I have to do and fix about myself, right? Even though that's coming from a place of misaligned self-worth, right? He thinks that because I have so many things to do, that means that I'm bad. No, you're good, period. You can't do anything to change that you're good. Hashem Hamatzilot oto mizchichut adat venotnot alav or matok. And this presentation that tshuva does of showing me everything that I still need to fix and everything that's still not 100% shalem and all the things that I have to work, that itself prevents me from haughtiness. Because the minute that if I would have tshuva and Hashem says, right, in other religions, just believe this and you're okay. Right? Give out. I'm done.
Easy.
Yeah. What else do I have to do? Oh, you're good. Right? So in Judaism, no. Now here's the long list, right? And when does it stop? At age 120, right? So you keep on working yourself. That prevents you from becoming haughty. So it instills in you a certain sense of humility. And it gives him a light of sweetness, a sweet light, which gives, is amazing, each word here is so deep, which gives permanent value to his life, as opposed to temporary value.
So kavua is permanent?
Permanent, established,
what was
set.
Tiba, the first word. Tiba, the first word on top?
Tiba,
the first word right at top.
it's nature.
So nature, and the last one was
Kavua, right. So a person can also have a derech that is very difficult. You can fix yourself and cleanse yourself, but it's very difficult. Here, Rav Kook says, it gives him or matok, it gives him sweet light. The process is sweet. Rav Yosef is okay. We'll just finish this piece. I don't want to make you guys suffer too much. Once you recognize, if you're not experiencing sweetness, if you're experiencing something, meaning it's got my alignment here, right? And now listen to this. At the end it says, and this gives. He has some type of great accomplishment. He's the valedictorian. He's MVP. He got a raise. He got a promotion. A great article was written about him, right, or whatever. At that moment, the person feels he has tremendous value. His life has value, right? Usually, people work for some type of thing. Right? I have a friend who used to say that he was a big sports guy before he became Baal Tshuva, and he said, "I have such rachmanis for professional athletes. By the time they're 35 years old, their career is finished. Where do you go? You can't go up from there. I mean, maybe you'll be one of the few that becomes a commentator for the rest of your life. Whatever. Like, where do you go from there? Level I'm saying. I don't think there's a physical experience. Those moments when they pour ice on you and how many millions watched the Super Bowl this year? And not only that, there's so many celebrities that cope with a certain level of brokenness because they struggled so hard to get to their level of success in their, what do you call it, celebrityhood, right? And then and it's do the job for them. They still don't feel right. It's like now when I'm not on stage, I still feel terrible. I thought I was gonna feel, everybody loves me. I thought I'll feel good when I'm not on the stage. I think I told you guys that Bruce Springsteen, Shalom Aleichem. So Bruce Springsteen, he wrote. I saw an introduction that he wrote to a book of one of my teachers, one of my therapy teachers, and he said in the 80s he was the most popular, highest paid musician of all time, right? Highest selling records of all time, above, probably even Elvis. I don't know.
No.
I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not Elvis. Elvis wins. Elvis is the king. Elvis is the king. We're moide. We're moide. Right. But he said, and yet I still, and my life was still so broken. I still felt so bad about myself inside. Right? And what that is, that's a recognition of like, wow, society sold me an idea that if I just do this, if I reach this, so then then I'll be okay. But I'm not okay. Why is it? Why am I not okay? Because it's true that those moments, which are invigorating and amazing, magical moments of accomplishment and greatness, right? And I'm not saying that from a facetious place. Like, imagine, I'm a musician myself. When you're in harmony, if you're a musician and you're playing, you've got a band and you're in harmony and you're tight and you're in harmony with, thousands of people that are watching you. I mean that's a moment of a high that it's very hard to right. But if I'm dependent on that in order to feel good, that my life has value, so the minute that I'm not in that, my life doesn't have value anymore. Not to say that all their lives are shallow and empty. That's not what I'm saying. You guys understand what I'm saying?
It's like drug addiction.
It's like a drug. It's like a drug, and a drug is great. In the sense, don't say the rabbi said drug. It feels great. There's a reason why everybody's taking drugs and drinking, right? It feels great, but that's the problem, is that it doesn't give a permanent greatness to your life, right? And that's how we get addicted. We say, well, maybe I just need to take more of it more often, right? And that'll solve my problem. It doesn't solve the problem, right? Rav Kook says this solves the problem. This gives permanent value to your life. On one hand, personal lives, but at the same time, I'm very humble and I'm focused all the time, working forward, all the time knowing, right? I'm not just working and feeling bad about myself. I'm working and feeling good about myself, right? And that gives a permanent value to your life. You feel the value every day. When you wake up for Shachris today, gentlemen, that was a Shachris today, right? If you miss Shachris and you daven two minchas, that's you got to daven two, right? There's a the Rabbi's here. Okay, we'll just finish with it's serious, but people look at it as a joke. In Chassidut, 10 days of tshuva until Yom Kippur, and then all that. It's all a process until the end is on Hoshana Rabbah, and that's when the note is passed out to the angels, right? You guys know. But no, you got another chance on Simchas Torah. Comes Chassidus and says, no, really, the ceiling is really on Chanukah. Right? And then there's other times that no, it's really on Purim. No, it's on Pesach. You get all the way back to Rosh Hashanah again, so it never ends. Right? So it's kind of like it feels like they're like making light of it, that there's a process, and like, no, there's always a second chance. But the emes is that every moment is a mamash of fresh. You're light, you're calm, because you realize that you're together with Hashem in this moment. Right, and that's the feeling of tshuva that Rav Kook is describing. We'll finish the piece next week.